Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, and I want to talk about um, the best use of his time right now in this season of reflection. He's waiting for President Donald Trump to make him his VP selection. We're all waiting for that as well. There's a good use of time. There's a good pattern on how to use that time right now, and that is to build plans and begin to put into place to build plans and even begin to execute initial steps on those plans to catapult America forward. There are certain presidents who were able to catapult America forward, just massively increase American um, progression. Right, Ronald Reagan, certainly Abraham Lincoln, certainly George Washington. I think Monroe. Um, there's quite a few, right? John F. Kennedy, no question. President Barack Obama. He that's a okay. President Barack Obama did not do anything to move America dramatically forward based on his policies, but based on him overcoming, based on him shattering the bulwark that had been built against a, a minority having power. That moved us, that catapulted us forward culturally, right? But I think Vivek Ramaswamy needs to build ideas that can catapult us forward, and really, and America's been doing this for a long time, and we need to continue to do this to just like really dramatically shift what it means uh, to be moving forward, right? And so let's talk about what he can do specifically to do this. And all right, let's get into this. So first, just want to. So one, a lot of people don't. I don't edit my videos, except in one way, right? I'll cut a video and I'll be like, I did not land that, right? And then I'll delete it. And I would say maybe 10% of my, I would say 5%. 5% of my videos just never get seen, right? I'm like, nah, I'm not putting that up, right? So I just want you to be aware. This is an extremely difficult subject, and I already cut this once and I deleted it, and I'm giving it another shot here. This is a risky subject, but I wanna put it down. All right. So what am I saying? I'm saying that Vivek Ramaswamy can help us move to a hyper rapid decision making infrastructure based on pattern recognition, and eschewing math and science significantly, not completely, but significantly, reducing them to inputs as minimal as 10%. Okay, and so our government should be making decisions, hugely important, massively life-changing decisions for Americans and for the world, no longer based on math and science, but based on pattern recognition. All right, so you're like, what are you talking about, Scott? Yeah, this is the deep end of the pool. Follow with me here. Okay, all right. So what am I talking about? Let me define it. So I'm a huge fan of the Slate Political Gabfest. Emily Bazelon, John Dickerson, David Plotz, brilliant, the best political pundits on the planet, bar none. Okay, they do 1 hour every week, get together on a podcast, and that's the best political punditry you're going to find anywhere, right? And they recently did a section where they talked about what is happening with with the findings they got out of the Great Pandemic on K through 12 education. And so recently, right here in 2024, a study came out and it said the Great Pandemic was absolutely savage to the learning of K through 12 public school students. It just devastated them. And their findings are saying that, like, literally you could take 2 years, and if they had done nothing, that it would have been like not worse, right? Like, it was just abominably bad, right? Like, it really, so basically we like lost 2 years for millions and millions. So 2020 and 2021, it's almost close to the point where if those kids had, literally just played video games and watched TV, uh, people are like, I'm not sure it would have been any worse, right? It was just abominable. They learned close to nothing, right? Many of them. And that they're going to be digging out at the college level and at all the other grade levels, because these kids just were not given the amount of education that would allow them to progress as students traditionally did, right? So they're just abominably behind. Okay. Now here's the kicker, right? So David and David and John and Emily were like, let's talk about this now. So we have this data, right? We're all sad, but absolutely none of us are surprised. We all knew this. We all knew this, right? So this report is coming 2 years after the fact, but every parent knew this. You walk past a kid's room and they're supposed to be on a Zoom learning from a teacher. The teacher's, talking, no one's listening. Kid's not even in the room, like just pure chaos every time you looked, right? Everybody knew this, right? We knew that we were failing. We knew a few new realities. Online learning does not work. Online learning does not work. Online learning does not work. Does not work. Okay? The next thing we knew is that we had utterly failed an entire generation and essentially sacrificed 2 years of their education to our Great Pandy plans and the actions that we thought we needed to take, right? So that's what we learned, right? But what's really interesting is Emily, John, and David were like, you could take this entire report and file it under duh. There was literally nothing here we didn't already know. Okay, so that's the point, right? What was the point of waiting for the mathematicians and the scientists to catch up and say, here's the numbers? We already knew it, right? So this is the point, right? Increasingly, there are going to be these points where we're trying to find something out, and the traditional channels are fundamentally broken. They don't serve the way they used to. This is a strange analogy, but I'm gonna put it here because I think it's one of the most powerful. It's one that I believe this is the future. All right. So there's a show on Netflix. It's called Sense8, right? It got 2 seasons, right? And so it got 2 seasons, and people were waiting for the 3rd season. And there was tons of discussion on Reddit, and literally every single major social media had a group that was saying, when are we getting season 3 of Sense8? And it's like a sci-fi show. And they were all debating it. And Netflix is like, it's coming. Netflix is like, Netflix would not say it was canceled, right? But this gaffer, a guy who just keeps the keys on a set, right, was like, hey, up in Canada, they just struck the Sense8 set. Struck the set. What does that mean? They broke it down. They put it in trucks and they sent it to Los Angeles, right? Immediately, right? And then this gaffer was like, the show's canceled, and they're like, you can't say a show's canceled because somebody packed up a bunch of trucks, right? That gaffer, right? CEO of Netflix was saying nothing's canceled. A gaffer, a guy who keeps the keys on the set, right, was like, this is canceled, right? He was right. He was 100% right. It was a pattern recognition. He recognized a pattern, right? You don't break the set on a show that's not canceled. You keep stuff together because you're going to need it, right? And so this is my point, right? We're now in a new world, right? And like, people would be like, well, Scott, you need math and science because those things are doing really important things for us. Are they doing important things for us, right? Like, a good example is, the mathematicians and the scientists should be able to get us to the moon. We went to the moon in 1969. We can't go to the moon now. Right? We literally can't do it, right? The math and the science are beginning to fail us in really, really fundamental ways, right? And so, and the reason why is we have every ability to collect to do the math right. We have every ability to do the science right. But we don't have any ability to communicate the findings, and almost no one trusts the sources anymore, right? So they're not really functioning the way they used to, right? So I do understand there is value in math and science. I'm not saying they're valueless, but I'm saying their value has been deprecated by 90%. They're 90% less valuable today than they were. I do think we should keep math and science around, but I'm saying that because of our need for speed and our need to move quickly, we need to begin to build ways to build critical processes to make decisions based on known elements, based on pattern recognition. And we need to break down the disciplines we're teaching in schools to embrace this new, faster, better form of decision making. Hyper rapid decision making based on pattern recognition and only minimally referencing math and science. All right? I think that's where we should go. And I think Vivek should come forward and start this discussion. And this will be very risky, right? The moment he starts talking about this, he's going to get massive pushback, right? But I think there are going to be other people who are like me, like people who are like, oh yeah, like we keep saying math and science we keep saying math and science are important because they're what we used to use to run our world. But now they're only marginally important and marginally valued, right? And so I think, and I am also putting this on Vivek Ramaswamy's back because it's going to be outrageously difficult to communicate, right? But he's charismatic, confident, and intelligent, and he's the right person to do it. He's the right man to do it, all right? There could be a woman who could do it. Tulsi Gabbard could do it if she could. Tulsi Gabbard's brilliant, but obstinate in that I think she just fundamentally won't do what's necessary to win favor en masse. But I do think Tulsi Gabbard would be another person who could do this if she knew how to stay relevant by not tripping over her own feet. Like she stops herself. Nobody stops Tulsi but herself. Like she's got a lot of weird ideas that just like they stop her cold. One of them was like, I'm against the military-industrial complex. Trying to talk to Republicans? Like yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I think this is what Vivek should be working on. And I know this is a controversial take. I don't think math and science are valueless. I just think their value has been depleted by literally 90%, and we need to find new solutions. Every single word is what I think Vivek Ramaswamy should be doing, is my humble opinion. And the important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.